and welcome to Scottistan with me, Taqi Nazeer.
Me, Atta, Yaqub.
And me, Paul Chaal.
We are three guys, three actors, we are presenters, and I think two of us are models. Not me, thank you. One of us is a writer, that's me, and not blinking you two. But one thing that brings us all together is that we're all Scottish and we're Asian. And we're here to really chew over some of the issues and topics that I think affect the three of us in life, but from our own unique perspective. And in today's episode, we'll be looking to tackle the subject of identity and what it actually means to us.
Is it something that we're simply born with, or is it something that we develop ourselves over time?
Yep, and what's been our own personal struggles with understanding our own identity?
So I guess the first thing that comes to my mind, and I'm going to ask you, ask myself it as well, is if I said to you, what is your identity? What would you say?
I've got notes here, by the way. I put down points to consider earlier on, and I've no idea what. It probably summarises what I don't know what my identity is. So could be Scottish, could be Pakistani, could be Muslim, it could be British. It honestly is very unclear to me.
If you had to choose one, though, if you had to choose one.
Somebody asked me a really interesting question. What language? Somebody that I knew, they were really blown away because I'm bilingual. We could all speak two languages, maybe more, but we're very fluent. And they asked me a really interesting question: what language do you think in? And upon that question, I was answering that question in my head in English. But then if my mum was asking me, it would be in Punjabi. It's a funny one.
Really? Because when my mum talks to me, I'm thinking in my head in English, Scottish. I don't think in Punjabi.
I don't know. I mean, there's some things that you can be more emphatic with when you're speaking your own language. Like,
swear words.
There's
definitely things. I think I agree with Paul there. When it comes to my mum speaking or a certain ilk of a generation, I think in Punjabi first maybe, or a cultural way, maybe think Pakistan way or India. That's what comes naturally to me.
But I think it's because I respond to my mother in English.
If my mum's having a go at me though, I'll say, here we go again. And I'll say that to myself, kind of, an aside.
Yeah.
Almost.
But so then, do you think we jump between being Scottish or Muslim or Pakistani and in your case Indian? But
I used to, when I was a kid, I hated being brown. I hated being, because all my friends were white. I resented it. I think it's that teenage hormonal thing. I hated being brown. I wasn't Indian. I wasn't brown, and now I embrace it. It's who we are.
Yeah.
I teach my kids it. And they kind of have the same response. Most of their friends are white. They go to Bearsden Primary, darling.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of Asian kids there. But no dads, especially my teenage daughter, she's 14, and my eldest son, 16, understand the language, but they're like, no, that's embarrassing. Don't speak. When my friends come over, don't speak to me in Punjabi.
Yeah, definitely a generational shift with things.
You know what's really interesting? You're talking about school there. I remember being at school, and I think I was one of the only Asians
in the village,
in my high school. And I remember I didn't get any racism or anything like that at school at all. But I remember when I'd go home, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not a Paki. I'm not a Paki. Which then means that I thought other people were Pakis, which means I was attaching negative connotations to them. Because I was like, I'm not a Paki because I don't squat in a toilet. I don't wear a shalwar kameez, which is the Pakistan kind of dress or Asian dress. I don't do that. But then, because at that time I was thinking, I don't actually have any identity issues. I'm Scottish, and I guess I used to think I was white.
It's really interesting when you say that you were only Asian in that school. I was one of many Asians in the south side of Glasgow growing up, and there was race riots. There was, he hangs out with the white guys, so he's a bounty. He's dark from the outside, white on the inside.
Coconut.
The whole lot. So for growing up for me, there was mixtures of everything. But like yourself now, Paul, but also always just embracing it, loving the fact that I'm Muslim. I actually like the fact that identity question, Taqi, you said, I can tick on all of them because I think it's what kind of gives us that bit of uniqueness.
You can use it to your advantage. For example, when you get flagged down by one of those people in the street with the yellow jackets on, the charity people.
I thought you were going to say taxi.
I thought you were going to say the police. I thought they were already.
I went, hey, excuse me, can I have a minute of your time? Take it up. Sorry, I am no. No worries. Have a good day. I'll say, I see you later, and walk off.
Yes, we kind of jump between our identities when we kind of want to. But I remember growing up, and obviously I think I'm Scottish, like yourself. I think I'm Scottish, I'm Muslim, I'm Pakistani. But then I used to hide that a lot.
Yeah.
And you'll know what I'm talking about when you're kind of like, and you're growing up, you're dating other people that you shouldn't really be seeing dating. You're kind of hiding stuff, aren't you? You're kind of hiding who you are.
Listen,
you're not.
There's a culture clash all the time. You know, when you're out, definitely not so much maybe because you're from a Sikh background and stuff, Paul. You know, you might not have to hide certain things like alcohol or, you know, but definitely in the Muslim Pakistani community, Taqi, there's a big thing around hiding who you are. It's kind of, you know, this can be seen with some guys. You know, he goes out, so I can be like that out with him all the time growing up. And do you know what? That still happens. People still do that.
You're still ducking in the car.
Always.
You're still hiding.
I had to sneak out the window. I met a girl who worked in Global Video, and I liked her. And she's a white girl.
I know the guy who owns that.
Well, she was just a girl that worked there, and I started going in there and pretending. You know, I had to change my options of what I used to watch. You know, I had to change from the top shelf to normal so that she didn't realise I wasn't a pervert. Anyway, I managed to get.
You know, for that, can you just eat a bit of tablet?
I've got to. Okay. So I'm going to eat a bit of tablet to show that apparently
you're talking too much about yourself.
Narcissism.
Surprise.
However,
I'm a model. Yeah, go on.
Cut long story short, my mum and dad found out, and my dad was all right with it. My mum was kicking off. My dad says, look, he's either going to do it behind her back or he can do it. So my mum says, look, if you're going to do it, hide. So I was really weary in the streets.
I don't know that many hiding spaces.
I'd park the car, I'd be looking around like,
hide behind a tree, what do I hide behind?
I had to become very careful where I ate, where we went, and it was horrible. And people spotted me. My uncle, Cornell.
you naming and shaming.
Cornell, I'll tell you what, he told the whole world that my mum and dad, you got spotted.
Colonel,
he's a bit of the colonel, yeah. He's got a bit of the colonel without moustache.
It's interesting what you say. Obviously, relationship's a big one, right? That you need to hide the other side and all that kind of stuff. For me, it was a big clash around football. Like, I grew up doing a lot of sports, so getting into a team or playing football and being Asian playing football, still to this day, I do a bit of coaching with kids from Pakistani, Indian, black communities, and we're trying to really address that opportunity for them to see push them into places they want to go. Growing up, no chance there was going to be an Asian footballer or there was going to be someone playing in a team when there was all white guys and you're the only brown face in there. You'd get all sorts. Oh, they're about to take a corner, they're opening up a shop there. Honestly, had it a lot. Played in Easter House, literally got battered at half time with people throwing things on our changing rooms and stuff. It was horrible.
You can see that's racism, but essentially they're not accepting you.
Yeah.
But that's what racism is. But in terms of identity, they're not accepting who you are. You're not one of us. You're not white. You're not perhaps as good as good a footballer or something.
But then it helps you define yourself as well. See, when you get some of that sometimes, it almost puts you into that little bit of a group or a cohort of you thinking, do you know what? We're like that because that's what we're getting all the time. We're not getting that opportunity to succeed. We're getting called this and that. Are we just that? So maybe just embrace what we are. So sometimes that helps you become what you are as well.
It's really interesting because even up until a few years ago, I remember being at a party and I kind of really noticed my own kind of identity, being Asian, being Scottish, being kind of Pakistani. And I wasn't really connecting with anybody. And I don't know why, because I feel like I can still get on with quite a lot of people, regardless what background you're from. And what I started doing, I've noticed this is something that I used to do quite a lot until I managed to kind of get a grip of myself, and that is self-deprecate. Make fun of my background. So when someone wasn't talking to me, I was like, is that because I'm a darkie? Is it because I'm black? And then they'd start laughing and you think, oh, I'm kind of in there now. You kind of find a way in through your own shame and also guilt. And have you ever done that? Because I used to do that quite a lot, but it's only now realising that I used to do it because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin.
So the rehearsed reading, I had a rehearsed reading this afternoon with the Playwright Studio.
Take a bit of tablet.
Take a bit of tablet, mate. What are you bragging for?
And basically, it was an all-white cast.
Paul just picked up the bit that was spinning in my mouth and back out again.
I've been eating the same bit.
That's it.
It's even sweeter.
He's rubbing it all over himself. Right, so.
and basically one of the characters, you know, the female lead leaves her husband. For me, and I made the comment, you know, you've had some vanilla ice cream, now have some chocolate ice cream. And I love making those jokes, and that gets a giggle, and I use it every time.
I'm the same.
I do.
I do it every day.
Hold on, you guys make jokes about vanilla and chocolate ice cream?
Not just that.
Not just that.
Ebony and ivory, all that kind of stuff. You can use it. You can use it.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
You may have more friends.
Is it because I was brown, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, because the colour of your skin, you're kind of more like a latte.
Yeah. Wait a minute, is that light or dark?
Well, I think you're quite milky. If you had to like describe the tone of your skin.
I don't know. I'm not any different from you two, I hope.
We're different shades of brown though, aren't we?
That's a great title for our next movie. Has somebody done that already?
No, they've not.
They've Answer the question.
But 50 Shades of Brown could be 50 Shades of Shite, which is not good.
Which I had in my play, 50 Shades of Brown. No, right, okay, I'm not going to ask you because you're not answering the question. Like, actually, let's do it to each other. What colour am I?
Brown.
Oh, I know I'm brown.
But okay. Do you want me to say?
Brown,
do you want me to say caramel? Mocha?
No, like.
Okay, so you're giving me latte, right? So we're working off that.
But how milky is the latte?
Depends. Is it dairy? Or is it dairy free? Is it?
It's not organic milk. Just answer the question. Do you know what I mean? It's not Cravendale.
Wait, how brown are you? Is that
I'm asking.
Why is it an issue?
It's not an issue. I'm just like saying like, how would we describe ourselves in terms of colour? Like, we know we're brown, but it's like a guy from Africa is not actually black, are they? They're not black because they're not that colour. They're just really, really dark brown.
Yeah, we use that to identify that skin colour.
So, what colour am I?
Okay, Atta, I haven't got an answer for this. I can't because I think we're the same colour. I would say
I'd say you're slightly lighter skinned than most Indians.
And do you know what's interesting about that, right? Because see, when it comes to within our own culture, and
this is the point I was going to go to.
Right,
you are a smart cookie.
I'm not really, but in our own cultures, depending on your skin colour as well, right? It's a class thing sometimes.
Seen as a good thing.
Yeah. You're lighter than us.
It's seen as a good thing, apparently.
Aye, it's definitely seen as a good thing.
The first thing they say, oh, he or she is Gora,
you know
which is
Chitti or
white.
Marrying someone and stuff. What's her colour like? What's his colour? Honestly, this is terrible.
No, I've heard that. You know, she's a bit dark, she isn't she? You're like, chill out, man.
Yeah. So is Taqi. Like,
there you go. There's your answer. I bet it's dark.
I know.
No, but it's a good point, bro. It's a really good point. That sometimes in our own cultures there's racism or discrimination because of our tones of skin. And you are lighter than us,
which is an identity.
You know?
Okay, well, I didn't know that actually.
No, mate, it happens.
I think
it definitely happens.
But yeah, the first thing that they say, I mean, my first marriage, yes, I've been married twice. Give me the thing again.
He's talking about himself again. Take another bite.
So my first marriage is, when they described my ex as, she's a little bit dark, but she comes from a wealthy family. The counterbalance it.
Sorry.
You know, yeah.
You just summed up the reason you got married there and then.
No, for them, but it was
she's a bit dark, but she was minted.
She's tall. The family come from but the family background is a big thing. They come from a good family background. It was never going to be mine. It never was mine. I didn't want it to be mine, you know. But I think it's the whole
package. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think, if you don't mind me asking, Paul, how old were you when you got married?
I think I was 25.
I think that, depending on age stuff as well, is really important to families and to cultures and stuff. Because I got married about a year and a half ago, and the whole thing about family understanding or wanting somebody who was maybe like this, or maybe not saying that's the basis on everyone's marriage, but you know, because I was 38, I just wanted to do what was right for me, fell in love with a girl, yada yada yada. It's more about you as a person, and you can pick that person. Whereas when you're younger, you're kind of influenced a little bit by
very much
family, by culture, by community, and that's an issue. That's an issue. Like,
I think that's a big issue nowadays, because I think a lot of people are going against that rather than embracing it. Yeah. Especially kind of post-Brexit, you got this kind of external influence of Brexit and the rise of terrorism. That kind of it shapes us. Some people kind of go really internal. Some people are like, well, you know what? I'm Muslim, I'm Sikh, I'm Hindu, I'm this and that, and I don't really care. But do you think that kind of affects us in how we look at ourselves? Like after 7/7, for example, did you pay more attention to who you were, the colour of your skin?
My dad went to the gym and he wears a backpack, and he actually stopped doing that. He literally, and I said, Dad, that's a bit extreme. We live in a town.
Why did you use the word extreme? I'm kidding on. I know. I'm just joking. Yeah.
But it did. You know, it does worry you.
Yeah.
Because you see a mugshot of somebody, we don't look dissimilar.
Yeah.
A lot better looking, but not dissimilar.
No, but do you know what? I had Indian friends, Sikh friends with turbans who obviously are Sikh, and that's part of their culture. It's part of their religion. It's really, really important. That whole, since you brought 7/7 up and 9/11 and stuff, I just think those really changed the face of so much in terms of our society, especially being Muslim. Honestly, with not only the work that I do and from community and acting and stuff, but I just think it was a massive impact with, people like Paul's dad who are going to the gym, feeling affected by it. Yeah. Players in my football team again mentioned who had beards. There's so many layers to it, and it could go on and on.
Going on about that, I remember the first time I got stopped with a backpack, and that was the first time I really thought I look Muslim. I've never thought that, because people have always said to me, are you Spanish or are you Greek sometimes?
Yeah.
And I kind of go, yeah, I'm Spanish. But even then, doing that and kind of working on that kind of plane, you think, why did I just say that I'm Pakistani?
Yeah.
And it's taken me a long time for me to go, people say to you, so where are you from?
Yeah.
Nah, I just go, my parents are from Pakistan. And they go, okay. And I don't really care about being judged. But going back to the 7-7 thing, I remember I was at drama school, running to Haymarket train station, backpack on my back, went through the gates, I looked at the TV, with the times on it. I looked at it, and I stopped and went, all right, cool. And I looked down the corridor. I didn't pay attention to them, but there was 2 police officers there just staring me down. But I didn't pay any attention. I saw them, but I paid no attention to them. And I looked back, and I went back, and I went back forward, went back again. And I finally went past them, and they just stopped me and said, this is a standard stop and search section, whatever it was, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I look Muslim. I look like I could possibly be doing something.
Did you feel guilty at that point?
I didn't feel guilty, but I just felt really kind of downtrodden, going, I've just been judged on how I look.
Did you call them on it?
No, I didn't, because I know if you call the 5-0 and anything like that, you're just probably going to get
delaying
perhaps
the pain and the search. And what about at airports? Have you guys ever had an issue in airports?
JFK.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in the queue. I was going there to do a show for the National Theatre, and I remember. No, I better take a bit of tablet because I've just
That's all right. That's all right.
Who's had this one?
I don't know.
Who's put their gums around that?
So Taqi's just picked up a nice bit of tablet with many teeth marks around it, and I think we should stick with that one. Jurt, we call it, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Jurta.
No, I was actually back in 2004. I think I went to JFK, and there was a queue for normal people.
Normal?
And there was a queue for terrorists. Genuinely, there is. I was in the queue for terrorists, and as I got to the front of the queue, literally, the lady at the counter went, and this red kind of beacon went off. Armed escort to the elevator, got to the elevator, armed escort in the elevator down the stairs with this kind of Mexican cartel-looking people. But
that's insane, man.
It is insane.
My experience with that is going to Las Vegas. And
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Las Vegas. Lost Vegas.
Lost in
Where's
Vegas.
that? Just outside Glasgow.
It's near Pollock Shields.
Do you do the south side?
It's near Pollock Shields.
Shame,
yeah,
man.
Everyone's just got Google Maps out going, where are we?
Las Vegas, okay. It's the tablet. And they pulled me to the side, sir, can you come with me? And and the officer, and then I started walking
Gloves
back,
go on.
side by side, right? And he's like, sir, walk behind me. Don't walk beside me. And then we eventually got to my case. He says, open that up. And I'm like, I didn't know what was going on. I genuinely didn't know what was going on. Open your case. Opened it. And he says, what's that there? It was a bag. It was a bag of brown powder.
Brad, all that.
It was a bag of brown powder. It was my face mask.
Oh, they thought it was heroin.
I looked exactly like a bag of heroin. He says, okay, what do you do? And I says, I'm an actor, I'm a model. He says, where are you going? I says, I'm going
eat
to.
That.
I got to eat.
I'm an actor, I'm a model.
To be fair, you look beautiful, mate. So, do you know what? You should have said, mate, you try some of this, you'll be fine.
Sir,
Not
close
the tablet.
case. He says, close the case, off you go.
Bro,
he bought it. There was no question. They didn't test it or anything. And then that was my only experience, but there was no. It was more drug related.
You guys forget that 9/11 was done by who? Muhammad Atta. See.
I genuinely heard producer Kay laughing.
Yeah. 9/11 was carried out by Muhammad Atta.
Oh, this isn't a joke.
This isn't a joke. My name on my passport until recently, Muhammad Atta ul Haq Yaqub.
Oh,
you're having a laugh.
No, I'm serious, man. I'm really serious. So I was in.
Sorry, have you changed your passport now? Have you taken Muhammad out?
I took Muhammad out. No, I can't remember. But when I was in the States, I can't remember.
Where's the last time you looked at your passport?
I think your passport lasts for like 15 years, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you've been abroad since then.
I can't remember where it's on it. I think it's just Atta al-Haq. I think it's just Atta al-Haq, Yaqub.
But that's fascinating because you've literally just changed your identity on your passport so you don't get gripped.
Well, I think it was because of that.
Someone's got some serious issues.
When I was in the States, she took my passport and she went, "Don't want to have a name like that here." She goes, "There you go," and that was it. She didn't say anything else.
That was it. She joked about it.
She joked about it, and that was it. Mental. So varying experiences, but just very quickly. See, when 7/7 happened, we in our minibus as part of our football team's all Pakistani Indian guys, went to London. We got held up by the police. Literally.
Diversity there in that football team, eh? Carry on.
That's what you need, Pakistani and Indian. So we got held up because they thought a group of Asian guys come down from Scotland. They tracked the fact our regi plate come from there. What are you doing down here? Here for a football tournament? Yeah, right. Some of them got frisked. The lot. That was scary because that's
just judging by the way you looked on the bus. Completely.
And the fact that we'd got lost a couple of times travelling down from Glasgow.
Right.
It was the whole. Well,
oh my God, it's a bus full of terrorists.
Exactly. We're 16.
But can I just say, do you blame them for stereotyping? We stereotype for a reason.
Yeah.
Do we not? Is that such a bad thing?
Okay, so you can.
Just came out your mouth.
We can't not but stereotype.
You cast me as a gay Pakistani in your play.
That's correct.
Because I never got it.
No, but we did manage to play together.
For the purpose of the listeners, Taqi wrote a play in which I never got the part. I being Atta Yaqub.
Yeah, from A Fond Kiss. Do you think we can have multiple identities and be true to those identities? Like we've got a sexual identity, we've got an online identity, we've got an ethnic identity, we've got a religious identity, colour identity.
Doesn't
your
that
music identity.
Doesn't that all merge into one once you get to a certain age? I mean, when we go to a certain place, especially doing the three of us doing what we do, don't we kind of carry that and it kind of molds into one? You know, people have certain expectations of they've maybe seen you in something or you do something. Mm-hmm. You're always going to have that. I'm terrible for not going out the house without kind of getting ready and
putting
doing
your makeup
my hair
on and all that, and foundation and all that.
Oh, I'm glad that's a compliment, but no, I don't.
I dug deep.
What was your point, Taqi, again? What was your question?
No, just saying that we have multiple identities, but can you be true to them all, or do you genuinely just have like when I'm doing my biography, for example, depending on what I'm applying for from making a documentary, for example, I would say I'm a Scottish-born Muslim of Pakistani heritage. The first thing I've said is I'm Scottish. Same. You say you're Scottish. What do you say? Do you say Mohammed Atta, terrorist, Scottish?
For me, that multiple question comes in because depending on my audience, I'll change that. I could put in Muslim first, I could put in Scottish, I could put in Pakistani.
What do you normally put in?
Scottish Muslim.
Scottish Muslim.
I put Scottish Indian.
But you know what's really interesting is your DNA, and my DNA isn't Scottish.
No.
I'm probably more Pakistan. Well, actually, technically, we're more African, apparently, if you go back 60,000 years. But our DNA is not Scottish, nor is it British. We're probably mostly your heritage. Well, actually, our heritage is going to be Indian.
Mm-hmm.
Indian, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we not saying Pakistani or Indian, Muslim or Sikh?
Because we don't identify ourselves as that.
That's because it's not actually...
But do we identify ourselves as that at all? Or is there a scale here that we're working with?
Because in your bio, there's a part that you put in Pakistani, there's a part that Paul puts in Indian, and I'll put in Pakistani as well. So there's definitely a space for it, a place for it somewhere, because it's really important how we've been brought up, what our communities like to us. And I think that's, if not for all, but definitely for us sitting around the table here, that's definitely important to us. So we're going to put that in, the fact that we want to tell people that we're Pakistani and Indian. And it's made us and brought us to where we are because of that, I think.
But it's our heritage, it's not who we are, essentially.
Exactly, because we weren't born here, our parents came from India, and yes, so it's our heritage. We've inherited that from our family.
Do you think what we do defines you as well? Being actors, writers, presenters, models, whatever, do you think that kind of defines us? Does that change the way, ever since you've done what you've done, has it changed you in any kind of way?
God, I never really thought of that, to be honest.
Has it embraced who you are more?
There's certain parts of me that's changed. I think we've spoke about it before, Taqi, around role models and being an example to people, and that's difficult, you know, because no one has given us that authority or that status. You know what, Paul, you're a role model. But I guess what we try to do, or I definitely do, in terms of community work and community engagement is use what I might have learned or done or developed or whatever you want to call it to try to influence others, to take careers in that way, to have the confidence to speak out. So it has defined part of me in order to shape other people around me.
Right.
Largely young people because of the work I do as well.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important to me. Because also, just very quickly, sorry, the example of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is that we're an example to people. He showed things through his example to those who followed. And no way that's anywhere we'll achieve. But if we can do that and the kind of positive things that we do, be it getting a message out or speaking about something or giving people the confidence and the inner belief to do something, I'm not saying that's the work of the Prophet, because I was focused on religion and being a good human being and how you are with others. But that largely does define or shape what I do and I try to do for others.
Right.
Sorry, it was a bit long-winded. But
No, it was interesting. It was beautifully put.
What's interesting is a couple of years ago I was living in London and I was working as an intervention teacher every Saturday morning at quite an inner city school in London. What was really interesting is they attached themselves to being gangster. That was their identity.
Right.
They were rude boys, rude girls, walking about not interested in education. And I said to them, like, the first class I had was, I just thought, sit and connect with them and go, okay, what's really the situation here? They all had identity issues. They were like, well, you know, I'm not black, or well, I am black, or I'm this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And they were like, well, to be honest with you, know, most likely be a drug dealer. I was absolutely astounded by that. What's kind of more gangster? Like driving a Porsche as a drug dealer, or being an investment banker and making that same money? It made me think, there's so many kids in the kind of line of work. I don't do as much as you do, Atta, you know, but when I work with children, I work with youth, the amount of questions, not as direct as this, but they say, you know, they're kind of wanting advice on who they are. You know, they want advice on, you can see them being confused. They've been attacked for being Muslim. They've been attacked for not being Muslim, for being, you know, white. And it's like, what? And I've got nieces now, and they're mixed race. Yeah. And I'm just kind of hoping they're not mixed in the head. Like, I'm trying to teach them stuff about who they are and kind of how important it is to embrace everything about yourself. But then how can you educate kids? Yeah. They come to you and go, I'm really confused on who I am.
By telling them it's okay to be.
Do?
By telling them it's okay to be.
Absolutely.
And the fact that if they have got all these different parameters to what they're thinking, that's still okay as well. Because that essentially, if they are coming from different mixed race backgrounds, and like yourself, Paul, in terms of the kids being in an area where Bearsden is very affluent and not thinking they fit in, or whatever it might be, to embrace what they're about and use that to their advantage almost as well now, you know. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, you're brown so you'll get everywhere because of that, but you bring a certain culture and ethos and an understanding of the way you are that's different. That
and intelligence.
That people are trying to strive to. They don't have that in this country as much. And that's probably another topic when it comes to cultures mixing or not mixing, and what Sikhism or Islam bring to people, because it gives them a direction in some respect.
Absolutely.
Because they have a focus, whereas white society sometimes doesn't.
That's a really brave statement by Atta.
Sometimes it doesn't.
No, but I know. But I guess what you're trying to say is having a diverse identity gives you a level of understanding. For example, being Muslim, being Scottish, or being from the LGBT community and having to strive for what you believe in. It's that struggle. When you're, like, again, let's talk about myself. No. You know,
give him the plate, give him the tablet.
For God's sakes.
Narcissism.
No, but I managed to get over my identity issues, so to speak, by just saying to myself, basically, F you all. I will be who I want to be. I don't need to fit in.
Why did you have issues, though? What's that?
Well, I think it kind of stems from being at school, actually, and being in a predominantly white environment and going against the cultural teachings of my family and saying, actually, what, I'm not Paki. Because I associated that to not being able to eat with a knife and fork properly when I could. So I'm more educated than you because I can eat with a knife and fork. Just small, simple things like that. I dress in a suit. You've got a shalwar kameez on, which is a traditional outfit, you know. You live in, when I went to Pakistan, like, you guys live really dirty here. And I'm young and I'm not got the education, but that's what it was like for me growing up. And it's taken me a long time to kind of reprogram myself and then say to myself, actually, you know what? One, I'm wrong, and actually I am going to embrace my ethnicity. along with my Scottishness, you know, along with my music choices, along with how I want to live. And if I'm in a group where I feel like an outsider, I'm not going to try and force it. I'm going, okay, cool. You guys are judging me. That's fine. Because we do get judged on how we look and how we act and how we talk. And I know fine well there's a lot of kids out there, even a lot of adults out there, who do have identity issues, who are trying to fit in the workplace, who are trying to be a lawyer and fit in, or you're trying to be an engineer and fit in, and you're always trying to do what is classed as, I'm going to jump on Atta's bandwagon here, and do the white thing. And there's nothing wrong with actually doing the ethnic thing. Actually, it's pretty damn cool doing the ethnic thing.
Exactly.
But it's actually even cooler mixing them both together.
So what I learned is, because I was such a hater...
I'm going to eat this tablet now, damn it.
Eat it all. Because maybe we will get a chance to say something.
Oh God, that's disgusting.
Thanks, Producer K, for the tablet. We really love it.
I hated, as I say, growing up, but being brown. But what I've got to say, you got to embrace... What was funny about that?
I'm sorry, just the way you said it.
Yeah, I hated being brown.
I hate being brown. But I'm not brown, I'm actually light skinned. Go on.
What is it? Latte.
I'm a latte.
Latte.
I think you're more.
But what I've got to say to anybody, no matter what race, religion, look, size, colour, anything.
It's a moment of truth.
Moment of truth. Really embrace what you have. Because what you have is what you've got, is what will make you win in life. Yes?
I'm just listening to you.
Don't you agree? Doesn't matter, because I
It'll
thought...
make you feel more comfortable and at ease,
Absolutely. For me, I thought it was a massive hindrance. There was a boy, in first year of high school, I was sitting in art, and it was all a white class, and my friend who sat with me throughout the whole year turned around and said, "You're brown." And I said, "What the heck? What are you talking about? What that? Yeah." You know, my voice went all like that. Yeah. He says, No. He says, don't take me wrong. He says, "I've never noticed."
No.
Do you know what I mean? And he just saw me as just another one of his friends, you know. I mean, and I suppose it's because I didn't put myself out there as anything different or try to be different.
I had very few white friends when I went to university, and I had majority Asian friends. And I stopped connecting to white people. I kind of went from one extreme to the other, which is really fascinating. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, when I went to university, something just kind of sank inside me. I thought, actually, you know what? I started to understand my culture. I started to understand my religion, and I couldn't connect with wider Scottish society. I don't know if that kind of...
Did it just happen? Was it?
No, actually, because when I left school...
You had hardly any Asians there. And then,
I went to college, which was sort
where
of...
there was a lot.
Where there was a lot, but you could still kind of mix between native Scots, so to speak, and Asians. And then when I went to university, I think what happened is I just got more akin to being Asian. Then I went from one extreme straight to the other extreme, which is really fascinating, because then I started speaking a bit Punjabi, I started kind of swearing in Punjabi, I started being a bit more ethnic. I actually started being a kurta top with jeans.
Did you?
Yeah.
We should bring that back, or bring it somewhere.
I might be wearing that on Friday night.
But do you have identity issues?
Yes.
You do?
You do?
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I must do. What I've said over the course of this evening is that I see myself as British sometimes, as Scottish sometimes, as Muslim, as Pakistani. So that's an identity issue for me.
But you're not comfortable in your own skin?
No, but I am comfortable. See, the thing is with me, I don't think it's an issue, the fact I'm all these different things. It's just a multiple of identities for me. And I like that.
Have you lived double lives?
Have I lived double lives?
Do you think...
He said, have you got double wives?
Double wives.
Have you got double wives?
Topic for someone else.
That's another topic.
Yeah, I've lived double lives.
Okay.
Absolutely lived double lives.
Well, Paul, let me ask you that question. Have you got identity issues?
No, as I say, I think mine initially did when I was younger, but growing up, I've embraced who I am. In order to love other people, you've got to love yourself, and that's in no way a narcissistic comment. And I love who I am. I love, which makes me love other people. And everything's melded, moulded into who I am, I guess. And if I start separating those things, I think that's different identities, different people, different... For me, that would mean I don't know who I am. It's taken me a long time, and I think working as an actor, working with a lot of people and doing drama workshops, working with refugees and things, has really helped me, because at the end of the day, it's your personality and you believing in yourself, and that shines out of you.
Yeah.
People are drawn to you because of who you are, not what you do. And loving the fact that you are who you are, regardless of height, colour, look.
Yeah, I think I need to echo that, but in the sense that I don't have an issue with my identity, but there's definitely multiple things going on for me, but I don't mind that. I think how I portray myself is how I like, how I'm with people, how that interaction is, because for me it's about being human and how you treat one another. That's the most important thing to me. But thankfully, because of the heritage from Pakistan or India, being Pakistani, Muslim, British, Scottish, I love all that, man. I use it when I can. I don't use it when I don't need to. I'll use it in a...
Isn't that a beautiful thing? Absolutely. You can kind of jump between them.
Brilliant. So it's not an issue. It's probably, answering your question, it's not an issue, but it's a more an understanding and an embracement of all of them. Yeah. And that's where I think sometimes people might struggle, because we do have different layers. You know,
everyone does, even if you don't come from a diverse background or not.
Yep.
I think I've understood myself a lot more getting into my 30s, especially my late 30s.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I had identity issues all the way through, and I totally take that back. I think I probably did, actually. But it's only once I got into my 30s, when I started acting, when I started writing plays, and I started really I just started accepting myself. I think what was key for me is I stopped trying to prove myself to others. Because I got to a point where I was like, I don't need to prove anything. You might judge me, you might not like me, but because what normally happens psychologically, I think, is if someone doesn't like you, what I've certainly done in the past, and I think many people have done that as well, is gone, okay, you don't like me, but I'm going to keep trying to make you like me.
Which
I'm going to keep trying to do that.
Really detrimental, actually.
But it is, but we should also do that in acting with directors. Yeah. Directors can be absolute assholes to us. Yeah. Like, you know what? We're just going to keep trying to impress people.
Just want to finish off and say, I have a friend that I work with who I'm very close. He's a gay actor, and we hugs and kisses and everything, right? And last couple of times I've met him, he's been really off with me. Oh, hi. And very, 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 very unlike him. Very unlike him, because he's all over me as a friend, and you know, he's all over me. The second time we met him, and I said, oh, you look like you're flapping about, and he went off in one. The first time he's ever done that, and I chose to tut in. I thought, you asshole. I stepped back from him, and I thought, I want nothing to do with you. After a long relationship and a long friendship, you know, a good friend who I can rely on. And I told my wife, Mandy, and she said a beautiful thing to me this morning. She said, actually, you know what? Stop being so bloody egotistical. That's not about you. She said, there could be something going on with him. And I stopped and I thought, well, no, he shouted at me. And she says, no, you know what? Text the guy. And she said, text him, say, look, you've been off. I hope everything's all right. Ignore this message if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
He came back to me saying, oh, I'm so sorry. He says, actually, I've been my ex from 15 years. He's having issues with him. He says, thank you so much for being there. So I think always, it's never about you. It's always about the other person. Think a little bit. Take a step back. I think that was beautiful what she taught me today. After all these...
That's why she's the love of your life, bro.
True. She's my love of my life.
That's why she's the love of your life. That'll conclude the counselling session here for Paul.
So I guess we've got to wrap up now.
Okay.
I think if you had to give, and we'll do this one by one, I guess a bit of advice to people who are perhaps struggling with identity, and you might be struggling with it, you might not be, but a bit of advice, one piece of advice, actually, that you could give to your old self.
Okay. I think taken away from... Taqi pointed at Atta first, but because the idea came in my head first.
Yeah, I know.
I think taken away from what we've chatted about today is, again, be who you are, love who you are, and don't judge other people. Other people might have a lot of stuff going on. Embrace who you are. And if you've got kids, tell them you've got it. Self-love isn't narcissistic. It's about, you've got to love yourself before you can love other people. And if you want to reach out to other people, that inner energy will come across in you. Yeah.
It's a self-help book right there.
Right there.
Absolutely.
I think for me, Taqi, would be around the fact that we've got different layers to us. And I'll go back to the point of being Scottish, being Pakistani, being Muslim, being British. You know, all these things go on. So if people are listening and come from all these different backgrounds, or even if they don't, embrace each element of it and be that person where they need to be, because that shapes who you are. And it comes from family, it comes from culture, it comes from what you work or what you do, and there's nothing wrong with that. And like Paul says, is having that comfort within yourself and self-love. But that self-love is difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. You know, we've been fortunate where we've been in an industry where things like love and self-appreciation, etc., gets talked about. A lot of people don't talk about that kind of stuff. So it's just to take those moments, and however you do it, prayer, yoga, meditation, whatever that might be, but just take that time for yourself and say it's okay. You know, I have got a bit of this and a bit of that.
Absolutely. I think adding on to both your points, I think not to allow yourself to be judged. Because the minute you start letting other people judge you, you start questioning. And there's nothing wrong with questioning yourself, I think. You should for self-improvement. But if you're letting someone else put their insecurities on you, or someone saying to you, you know what, you're Asian, or you're black, or you're Polish, or, you know, you're Slovakian, or whatever it is, even American, or you're Scottish, and that's not fitting in with us. The best bit of advice I got was that you will find your own people, no matter what you want to do. And you can't please everybody. Nobody can please everybody, and we know that. And I think Scottistan is a beautiful thing.
I love it.
I think you two are beautiful people.
And we found our own
I
people.
love you.
In the room, one room.
Well, that's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Scottistan. I'm Taqi Nazeer.
I'm Paul Chaal.
And I'm Atta Yaqub.